My address is also there. You can always discuss with me, right? Yeah. Now, what is ethnobotany? I just want to tell you, ethnobotany is nothing but the study of Adivasi people relationship with the ambient vegetation, local vegetation. That means Adivasis who live in remote areas, forest areas, which are all totally cut off from the modern civilization, they depend entirely on the local vegetation only for their medicine, food, for their livelihood, socio-religious belief, anything, everything, much of the things come from this. So the knowledge obtained from them, the study of the knowledge about the usage of plants by the Adivasi people is ethnobotany. I think ethnobotany is very clear. Study of plants used by Adivasi people in the remote forested areas. That is the one. In fact, Harshberger was the one. This name you should never forget, teachers. Harshberger, he first coined the term 1876. It doesn't mean before 1876 ethnobotany was not there. When human civilization started, from that time onwards, ethnobotany is there. But the term ethnobotany was coined by him, Harshberger, in 1876 to study the study of plants used by aboriginal people. Aboriginal people means Adivasi people, tribal people, people of the forest, all that, whatever you can call, remote villages. Today, the term denotes the entire realm of direct relationship between plants and human population, right? Now, you may be wondering, what is this tribal people living in forest areas? Is there anything to learn from them? Some of you may be wondering. In fact, not only you, even the elite class of botanists today in our country think ethnobotany is no science. There is nothing in that. What is there going and learning from them? What is used for headache? What is used for stomach ache? These are all the things you record. Is there any science? So this is what sometimes they give, and we do not get funds. I think these problems I don't want to talk, but understand they have kind of apathy towards ethnic science, ethnic knowledge, ethnic knowledge. They say there is nothing. But I just want to tell you some of the major plant-based developments in our throughout the world I am talking has come from ethnic knowledge. Now I will tell you one or two simple stories. First, you should understand, and these stories I call as botanical adventures. Now, please remember botanical adventures. Now, you may think, क्या adventure हो सकता है? Man is orbiting along the moon and Mars and all that. With plants, adventure can be there. Now, I think when I tell the story, these adventures are in no way less than the adventures which you are all thinking. Now, somewhere between the middle of 16th century, you can imagine what kind of civilization could have been there. You should go back to middle of the 16th century. Even 100 years back, even my own time, what was the civilization you do not know. Many of you may not know what kind of civilization existed during my own time when I was a small child. So therefore, some 4 centuries, 3 centuries ago, what kind of civilization could have been existed, you can imagine. No computer, nothing, all this. During my time itself, there was no computer, no transistor, no radio, and these kind of things were not there anyway. My point is, 4 centuries ago, what kind of civilization? No bus, no motor car, nothing. People were, I think, living. I don't know how they were living, eating, living, and dying. I think that was the situation. But there were a group of herbalists who were interested in plants. They were all interested in collecting plants. So they were going, a group of herbalists were traveling around the forest in Peruvian forests, Peru, South America, Peruvian region. They were traveling. You should know the story. Peruvian forest. And during that time, malaria was rampant throughout the world. If malaria comes, means 100% he is going to die. That was the situation. Millions of people were dying. Millions of people were dying because of malaria. There was no cure, and such was the situation. These herbalists were going in search of some plants and medicinal aspects and all that. And one of the herbalists was feeling very thirsty. So thirsty, he was feeling that there is no water anywhere to drink. I must drink water, otherwise I will die. That was the situation. So ultimately, they search and come to a place where there was a nasty water, dirty smelling, and it was rotten water was there. And he just wanted to drink that water. His colleagues stop him. Array, if you drink this water, you are going to die. And he said, no, I have in any case malaria. I am going to die in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I do not know. Because it was so certain a person getting malaria means he is going to die. And he said, I am having malaria. In case, let me drink water, aram se let me die. So that he told those fellows and drank that water. When he drank that water, for his surprise, for the surprise of others, he did not die at all. Everybody was looking at this fellow, did not die. And he is one person having malaria, but he did not die. And this news spread like wildfire throughout the world. People started, Array, there is a pond where he drank some water, and that water he did not die. So they all thought this is a mystery water. Mystery water is there. We should drink mystery water so that. So people started coming from all the world because malaria was everywhere and started coming, drinking that water, getting rid of malaria. That situation came. And these fellows, the Peruvians, they thought this water will completely recede, it will go away. So our monopoly will be lost. We should protect this water. They put an iron fence all around this water pond, appointed a priest to give 1 or 2 spoons, whoever comes, 2 spoons of water and all that. That kind of restriction they made. And the fellow who got rid of malaria, he started thinking that curiosity to know was the beginning of ethnobotanical knowledge. So he started thinking, this water, if I drink, how can this malaria it can cure? If I drink water from some other pond, why it will not cure? So that he started thinking. His brain started working. He comes to that point, and also to all other ponds surrounding, and sees only difference between this pond and other pond is there are 1 or 2 logs of wood fallen in this pond, and it must be due to these logs of wood. And that is how he could identify this must be for this plant. And it is at that time the governor's wife was also suffering from malaria. She also comes and takes this water, and her malaria is also cured. And he wanted to name this particular tree in honor of that Duchess of Governor. So her name was Sincon, and he named it as Cinchona. In honor of her name, he named this as Cinchona. Cinchona was discovered. Now you can imagine, now afterwards a large number of experiments started, and they started tablets, synthetic and all that, and all they started, but malaria was cured. How this malaria was cured? Millions of people were dying because of the discovery of Cinchona by one man, and that too because of his thinking that it must be because of this plant. He could save so many. There was a huge rush for collecting this plant throughout the world. So Dutch people come, they collect a few seeds of Cinchona and go away. The monopoly of the Peruvians is lost. The Peruvians get irritated, they strengthen their security, and they wanted not to allow the Cinchona seed to go out. So the biopiracy, which we think today, we are talking of biopiracy, started some 4 centuries ago. The Royal Botanic Garden at England, they wanted to grow this plant in India because we are under the British rule. They wanted to grow this plant in the in India. So they requested the director of the institute, Markham, one Mr. Markham, and can you go and bring some seeds? Markham already went. How did he go? By aeroplane, sitting in aeroplane, in 2 hours did he reach? No, he had to travel 6 months in the boat. He had to travel because the situation was like that, some 4 centuries. He comes all the way, collects a large number of seeds, and the Peruvians come to know that this fellow has collected the seeds. and immediately that fellow was attacked and not only manhandled, all the seeds collected by Markham, they poured boiling oil on that and killed the seeds. And Markham was wise enough to keep a few seeds, and he had kept a few seeds in his pocket. And from that pocket, he raised a nursery of cinchona, which we find today that we in the Nilgiris we find the cinchona, the original cinchona plantation raised by Markham. So that is the one. So later on, I think series of experiments and took and all that. Now, what I want to say is the ethnic knowledge plays a major role in saving the people. By the time Markham was collecting plants, there was another person who was also collecting plants in the Amazon forest. His name was Richard Spruce. Richard Spruce was collecting plants in the Amazon forest. He was not a botanist, he was not an herbalist, but he was collecting plants and sending it to Royal Botanic Garden and getting some money, and that was his livelihood for that purpose. But he was so methodical even in collection. Whatever plants he used to collect, he used to write clearly where I collected, what is used, and all that. So at one point of time, he notices a very curious thing. The tribal boys were playing with something. They were playing with something, and they used to throw that, and it used to rebound back. And that was a greatest surprise for him. When I throw something, it is not coming. Whereas these boys are throwing something which is coming back, it is rebounding. Why it is, how it is? And he thought they must be doing some black magic. He goes to those tribal boys and asks them, what is this? How is it is coming? And why, if I throw something, it is not coming. The tribal boys, in their own knowledge, in their own dialect, they show him, they take him to a tree and they scratch the tree, and a milky that latex comes. He makes, from after hardening, they make a kind of ball and they throw. And he writes very faithfully, there is a tree, it gives a milky latex which after hardening shows elastic property. He writes that and sends it to Royal Botanic Garden Kew. And this remains 50 years unknown, unhidden. Again, somebody, when they saw this, there is a wonderful plant. There is something here. There is a plant. They sent a big delegation. That delegation included a chemist and other botanists and all that. That chemist was Priestley. He also comes all the way in the delegation to go and search that plant. And he had written where he collected, when he collected, everything, exact locality. They come and they identify that plant. And Priestley was very methodical. He was writing every notes. When he was writing, at that time, fountain pen was not there, your ball pen was not there. Only thing that was available was pencil. He was making notes from pencil, and at some time writing, he made a mistake. When he made a mistake, he had that, what is that latex ball in his hand, and suddenly, by chance, he rubbed it. Mistake करके he rubbed it. When he rubbed it, the pencil mark got erased, and he jumped with joy. This elastic material can remove or erase the pencil mark, and he called it as rubber. First time rubber was discovered. When rubber was discovered, now you can imagine, later on, of course, Goodyear came, and you boil this with sulfur, it becomes very hard. That paved the way for motorcycle tires, and later on scooter, cars, racket, everything today, aeroplane, everything. Now you can imagine now, the present civilization. Is there any civilization today without rubber? The entire civilization has completely changed because of the discovery of one plant, that is rubber. Now, is it not a botanical adventure? One plant, out of collected thousands of plants, one plant changed the entire civilization of humans and the entire rubber. Because after rubber, so many things came. Even today, rocket, everything, the rubber is needed. So the entire civilization changed. Therefore, I call these in no way less than the adventures which modern man is taking. So I call these botanical adventures. Now, my question to all of you is, how this rubber was discovered? it was discovered by utter ethnic knowledge of the tribal people, that too tribal boys, ethnic knowledge. So ethnic knowledge changes the entire civilization, or another major discoveries are responsible for the ethnic knowledge. So I hope you understand the importance of ethnic knowledge today in our in the world over. So ethnic knowledge, Adivasi people live in remote forested areas. They entirely live in areas where the civilization has not reached. By trial and error method, they have acquired tremendous amount of useful information. Trial and error. What is trial and error method? Today, if you know that this is a poisonous plant, how this has come? That poisonous, many people must have died. After this trial and error, people have come to know, oh, don't go, don't eat this. This is a poisonous plant. Trial and error method, they have acquired large number of very useful information. That is very one important thing. And this information is unwritten. There is no textbook or a computer database and all that. Unwritten information. This is passed on from one generation to other only by oral folklore. And this time tested information, this is a time tested information I call, because it is not one generation's property. Millions and thousands of generations have passed, so that information is passed on from one generation to other. So therefore this is a perfected information. I hope you all understand. Very perfect information, because it has passed through several generations. If it is somewhere this is not curing, means that plant must have gone there itself. No, it is certainly, it cures diabetes, so it passes through oral folklore, so it has existed. So what we see today, a tribal information today among the tribals, it is not their knowledge, but it is their forefathers' generation, which has percolated over several generations through oral folklore, and which has stood the test of time and perfected during several generations. So 100% this generation, this data is correct. Any doubt? Now, if it is okay, then I will go further. Now, Indian region is one of the major botanical emporia in the entire world, because we have a large number of tribal population here. In fact, 550 ethnic tribes in our country we have, and each one of these ethnic tribe, they have their own set of plants which are all used for food, for medicine, for their living, for dwelling purpose, for all purpose. I am talking of only medicine. For medicinal purpose only, in this talk I am talking, they use a set of medicinal plants, and this information is again not the present day generations. It has come from several generations, perfected through all these generations. So whatever they use, they say today, it is 100% correct. 100% it is correct. Even without your scientific evaluation, you can say yes. So therefore, you should not look down the ethnic tribal people. What they know, they don't know how to dress even. So what to, is there anything to learn? So that kind of apathy attitude you should not have. You should think that they are the ones from which we can gather much more information, because ethnic knowledge is the perfected knowledge and very important for us. So therefore these provided unique opportunities for study. Therefore in India we have large number of ethnic tribes. So this has provided us unique opportunities for study of ethnobotany, a study science dealing with relationship between human societies and plants. That is the one. This just only shows these are all the tribal inhabited pockets here. Northeast, majority is Northeast, Andaman, and in Madhya Pradesh some pockets, and even in Western Ghats also some portions here and there. These are all tribal concentrated areas. As I told, 550 ethnic communities are there. For example, Naga community. When I say Naga community, among Nagas itself, there are 16 sub-tribes. Again, that also you should understand. 16 sub-tribes. Each sub-tribe has their own dialect, their own language. So therefore, they have their own set. You can imagine how much of information is there in our country. Ready-made information is there. And this information is associated with the biodiversity on the other side. So therefore, both these information are available for us. So ethnobotany helps in identifying. This is an Andaman tribe. Just to show, they look, you may think, like, yeah, what do they know? How can I learn? Do they know biotechnology? Do they know molecular biology? You may ask this question. Yeah, they may not know molecular biology. They may not know genes. But what is your ultimate result? They have perfected that knowledge which has come, which is 100% correct. So therefore, we should give value, we should respect them, we should learn from them, and give due credit to the tribal population for the data we obtain from them. Ethnobotany is a synthetic discipline. Sociology is required, anthropology is required, mycology, ecology, botany, conservation, forestry, See, this is a synthetic discipline. We need all these linguistics, for example. So, in order to interpret the dialects of the tribal population, we linguists also. So, therefore, it is not an ordinary subject. And you go collect plant, you ask him what for it is used for headache, you come bring plant and publish a paper. No, it is a synthetic discipline. Very systematic approach is needed for ethnobotany. Unfortunately, in our country, so far, we have not been able to take up even one systematic study of ethnobotany. All are confined to different tribes. A botanist will go, most of the papers we see is a botanist. A botanist will go to some tribe, whatever Andhra, whatever the plants are used, they will write down and publish a paper. Used so and so, they publish a paper. Now it is only a partial, it is not a full. So therefore, real ethnobotanical studies means all this. It is a big group is needed to study this. How do we study? In field work areas, in field work in the tribal areas. Number one, methodology, very quickly I will go. I don't want to waste time. Field work, of course, you all know that. Go to the field, tribal areas, select a plant and identify a knowledgeable resource person and ask him what for you. Either you collect all the plants surrounding his place and ask him, show one by one, what for you use this plant, what you call in locally, what is in your language you call, how do you use that kind of asking questions, and you can record some. That is field work. Other one is scrutiny of herbarium specimens. Herbarium specimen play an important role. What is an herbarium? Herbarium is a data bank on plants. Now you go to Central National Herbarium or Missouri Botanical Garden Herbarium, where there are 6 million specimens. If there are 6 million specimens, 6 million data is available on the plants. 6 million data. And from that, if you scrutinize, say I want to see the diabetic, what are the anti-diabetic plants? 6 million herbarium sheets, if you scrutinize and scan, you are going to get thousands of plants which are all used for diabetes. Because say in Nagaland this is used for diabetes, or in Kanyakumari this is used for diabetes. Whatever is written on the herbarium specimen, and all this herbarium specimen is stored in the herbarium. That's why I call it as a data bank. So by scrutiny of herbarium specimen, we can make, so in our country, suppose anti-cancer plants. What are the anti-cancer plants of the India? You cannot go to field and go on taking 10 years and survey. Go to Central National Herbarium, see all the collection which are all used for cancer. Yes, as anti-cancer plants, make a list, and that is possible. I hope herbarium plays. Similarly, ancient literature, travelogues, and the tribal folklore, all this will help us. Also, archaeological sites, in the parts remaining, what plants were using, what kinds of seeds are available, what are the type of the genetic material they were using. So that is archaeological sites, which we also call archaeoethnobotany and all that. We had, therefore, now ethnobotany is a recognized subject today. When it started initially, people never thought ethnobotany is science at all. But today, they were not even accepting ethnobotany PhD thesis. But today, most of the universities today, they accept ethnobotany as a science. And at the national level, an all India coordinator project on ethnobotany was launched a few years ago to find out which are the plants used by different tribes. A huge group, number of projects were floated, and through that all India coordinated projects, we could identify almost 9,500 species are used by different tribes of the country, of which 7,500 species are used medicinally. It's a big number. And each one of these use, please remember, each one of these use is a time tested. I told, it is not one generation, perfected during several generations. So therefore, each one is a valuable information, and 7,500 medicinal plants we have got. Of course, with these things, I forget, I don't want to talk. I will only talk on medicinal plants now. So, of course, in FRL report 1600 in Ayurveda, folk medical system 4007, homeopathy 491, and medicine and Siddha 1000. This number is nothing to do, but as I said, the ethnic knowledge, the ethnobotany, we have almost 8,000 species which are said to be important medicinal plants. Now, this is again important. One of the earliest works that we have at our disposal is Hortus Malabaricus. Hortus Malabaricus, written by the great Van Reed. You can see here, Van Reed. You please remember this name, Van Reed, written in Latin, and this entire information is based on the hereditary physician of Malabar region. His name was Itti Achyutan. Itti Achyutan was a hereditary, that means he was a resourceful person. And what the Van Reed did, he took him, and I don't know, by paying money and all that, whatever it is, he took him and recorded all whatever the information he knew. And from out of that, he published a book called the Hortus Malabaricus in 12 volumes, 590 pages during 1678 to 1693, and it contains the medicinal description of 742 plants, which is a significant contribution from the Malabar region. I hope teachers are all very clear now. Hortus Malabaricus is a wonderful treatise for us, which was given by Hortus Malabaricus, and this was written in Latin, but later Professor K.S. Manilal, I am extremely sorry to say that fellow, he died only 2 days ago. Professor Manilal expired just 2 days ago. He was a wonderful botanist, wonderful taxonomist, a great person, a great human being, and he spent almost 38 years in translating Hortus Malabaricus to English. Why it took so much of time to translate 38 years? Because of the problem that the names used by Van Reed was not the same name as we use today. Saida acuta, Euphorbia hirta. There was no binomial nomenclature at that time. It is a pre-Linnaean name. Van Reed's Hortus Malabaricus is a pre-Linnaean publication. Since it is a pre-Linnaean publication, binomial system of nomenclature was not there. So they were all polynomials. So whatever names he has given, by the description and all that, he had to do a lot of exercise to identify those plants. And ultimately, he has been able to spend so many years in translating this to English and then Malayalam. And today, we know a host of medicinal plants which are all used ethnically, or the hereditary medicinal plant like Itti Achyutan, which were using all these medicine. This is the person I have put in the photograph, Itti Achyutan. He was a great physician, hereditary physician. He was giving medicine, and that shows the importance of this. Now we have a treasure house of information about medicinal plants. I hope teachers are very clear now. Now we have also epic literatures like Rigveda, Sushruta Samhita, Charaka Samhita. In all these, there are large number of plants mentioned. How many? Don't worry. I have given 150. Charaka Samhita, say 526 species, 500. See, it shows there are large number of. And Charaka Samhita is supposed to be an authoritative treatise on medicinal plants. So there is lot of information available, right? But there is a problem. And they have not given again Solanum indicum or Euphorbia hirta and all that. They have all used such names for which today, even today, they have remained botanical riddles for us. We don't know. Say, for example, Sariva. We don't know what is that Sariva. Soma, Sarcostema, Ephedra, Aman. See, starting from a fungus, a flowering plant, a gymnosperm, all are attributed as surrogates of Soma. Morning I told about Soma. So what is that Soma? We don't know. 27 species are attributed as surrogates of Soma. We don't know. So therefore, although there is wonderful information, we don't know exactly the plant. That is one problem we are facing. Sanjeevani. What is that Sanjeevani? Suppose I know Sanjeevani and I will go bring it that plant and give it to people and I will become millionaire. in one day. But nobody knows what is Sanjeevani. They are all botanical riddles today that we have not been able to solve some of this. See, this is the one. See, for example, this is ephedra is a surrogate of soma, Amanita muscaria is a surrogate of soma, sarcostoma is a surrogate of soma. So therefore, it is very difficult. I skip this because I already told about the Sanjeevani plant in the morning, so I will skip about this. Now, based on the ethnic knowledge world over, not only in India, world over, large number of drugs have already come up. What are those? Atropine, codeine, cynarin, digitoxin, ephedrine from Ephedra vulgaris, and what for it is used or its action also I have given, hyoscyamus niger, Gaultheria, papaver, all this. In fact, the metformin, which every diabetes, so every house there is a diabetic patient today in our country. So everybody takes invariably metformin, and that metformin comes from a plant called Galega officinalis. Again, a plant, ethnic knowledge. From ethnic knowledge, we have been able to obtain so many important. So therefore, ethnic plant, ethnic information, please keep in your mind, is not something unwanted or it is there nothing. So it is a very valuable information. We should make use of the ethnic knowledge for our own future benefit. Now, in the Himalaya, we have a few species. All the tribes, they use this. Potential taxa used by different tribes. What is that? Aconita hetero. I showed a photograph. Aconita heterophyllum is a very costly plant which has tubers and all that. So it's a wonderful plant. And already, some ingredients are already known. Aconitin is a very poisonous one, and then aphrodisiac, and some medicines have already come up. Ephedra, seneca, ephedrine, stimulant, and all that I have just that given. Podophyllum is one which is used by most of the common tribes, even international also many tribes are using this. It is podophyllotoxin it contains. It is a highly important anti-cancer, anti-HIV plant. So we should try to go for the development of drugs, right? Some drugs already, some of the local, as I told, we don't have a global level product. Some of the companies, like say Himalayan Drug Company, Dharmani Drug Company, Alliance Labs, and Himalayan Drug Company, the Mindsil Pharmaceutical, these are all drug companies I have given. Already they have developed some products. Sasuria castus, Cofret is a syrup. It is a capsule. It is a syrup. Podophyllum exandrum, I told, Lev-10 syrup, leucine syrup in the form of syrup they have already obtained, but these products have to reach global level. Why they have not reached global level? Because we have not been able to develop pakka scientifically based pharmacopoeia. Only once you develop scientifically based pharmacopoeia, then only it can reach. But unfortunately, these medicinal products have remained almost endemic to our country or some of the states only. Some states, Ayurvedic, particularly Kerala, you go, large number of medicinal plants, they have developed their own protocol, Ayurveda and all that, But unfortunately, they are definitely valuable. But only thing is, we have to put scientific inputs so that we should take them at the global level. So that is one we have to do. So some of the medicinal plants I told in the Himalayas, these are the ones which are highly used. This is Sasuria obulata. Sasuria obulata is a state flower of Uttar Pradesh today. Highly aromatic plant, highly important, and this plant is critically endangered because it grows all along that side of road to Badrinath, Badrinath and Kedarnath. Local people, they collect this plant and sell it to the pilgrims who travel for 1 rupee, 2 rupee, and all that. So with the result, what has happened? This species has become critically endangered. So Uttar Pradesh government has banned collection. Today it is considered as the state flower of Uttarakhand now, not Uttar Pradesh now. Uttarakhand now, it is a state flower and highly important medicinal plant. What we see is not a flower, but it is an inflorescence. The bracts are covering. Once the inflorescence is removed, there is no possibility of multiplication. So therefore, the species has become critically endangered. This is Podophyllum exandrum. This is the one, Podophyllum exandrum I told. It is an anti-cancer plant, very important medicinal plant in the Himalayan region. Right? And this is, of course, Picrorhiza. This is a very bitter plant, said to be very good for anti-diabetic plant. Yes. And this slide I showed in the morning also. This is, of course, a very important medicinal plant. I told it is anti-fatigue, uh, uh, highly high energetic giving plant, Trichopas zeylanicus. I think this importance I have already told, so I will go. This plant is again from ethnic knowledge only it has come, and even today the only very effective remedy for Parkinson disease is Eldofa. This is the one. It has come from ethnic knowledge. From where it has not from systematic scientific study. It has not come from your own molecular studies, biotechnology, all this modern science. It is ethnic knowledge has come from the Parkinson disease. Now, there is one problem in our country. With all this, we have not been able to bring a product. You may ask this question, why we have not been able to bring a product? There is one problem. Diversity of species used for the same species, for the same ailment. Say jaundice. I have just made a list of plants which are all used for jaundice. Can you see here? Species in Charaka Samhita. Charaka Samhita is a authoritative work, authoritative tree is a 100% authoritative. But then, if you see the plants used for jaundice, these are the ones. Next slide also, these are all the plants used for jaundice. Now, as a botanist, if I analyze, now these plants, one belongs to Papilionaceae, one belongs to Malvaceae, one belongs to Graminae, one belongs to Euphorbiaceae. They are all botanically unrelated, chemically unrelated, phylogenetically unrelated. So therefore, I get a doubt. How, if this is good for jaundice, how this also can be good? So I get a doubt. So therefore, now, although there are so many species which are said to be important for jaundice, if I have to develop a product, which plant I will take, whether I will work on Phyllanthus, whether I will work on Lazonia, which plant I will take. So that shortlisting or prioritizing of species has not been done in our country. So therefore, pharmaceutical industries, they also say that I cannot spend money on 500 plants. You tell me best 5 plants, best to 2 plants. I will work and develop a product. So therefore, this is a problem. I hope teachers can understand this. Next, come to the fever. Now, the same story. Species in Charaka Samhita for fever, botanically unrelated, phylogenetically unrelated, chemically unrelated. This is good for fever. This is also good for this is also this is good for this. How can it be? I get a doubt. If Solanaceae is good for fever, how Cyperaceae can also be good? This doubt I get in my mind. So therefore, this has become a big problem now today, that we cannot go for any product development, although we have authoritative treatises like this. Right? Now let us come to the ethnic knowledge, ethnobotany now. Even in ethnobotany, dysentery and diarrhea, you go. Rajasthan, they use this plant. Kanyakumari, they use one plant. And in Tamil Nadu, they use one plant. Mizoram, they use one plant. This is the thing. Same ailment, all the plants are completely botanically unrelated, chemically unrelated, phylogenetically unrelated. So ethnobotanically also they are unrelated. Now I cannot prioritize. Tamarindus, I cannot give say Tamarindus is best, I cannot say. If you say Rajasthan, hey, Oxalis is very good, Oxalis carniculata is very good, it cures all this because I have cured 200 patients, 300 patients, he will claim. So therefore, this is the same problem. Now, anti-malaria you take. Same thing, I have given only good example of 1 or 2 ailments. Same is the case. Yeah, diversity of plant usage by different tribes in India. These are all the ones. I hope you understand the problem now. Now you go to the opposite of this. What is this opposite now? Same plant being used by different tribes for the same ailment. Now here is a something different. There, same ailment, diversity of plants were being used, but here, same plant, this is eagle marmalus, the same plant is used by Rajasthan also, Mizoram also, Kanyakumari also, Tamil Nadu also, Bharatpur, everywhere, everybody uses. What does this indicate? If there is a plant which is used he uses, she uses, that fellow uses, he uses, Andaman fellow uses, everybody uses. That indicates, means immediately I get the conclusion, this must be very potential. Without even scientific investigation, I can say everybody is using unrelated. Kanyakumari fellow are using, Kashmir fellow also is using the same plant for the same ailment. Rajasthan fellow is using, Indo-Gangetic fellow also use, tribals are using. So therefore, I get the conclusion without even scientific investigation, it must be a plant having high potential. So therefore, everybody, otherwise they are not mad people, they cannot use. So therefore, this kind of study, what is called cross-cultural ethnobotany. What is this? This is cross-cultural. Same is the case for the jaundice. Now you can see jaundice. This is a wonderful plant. I think you must have seen this plant. Nelanelli also it is called Phyllanthus amuras. Is a wonderful plant. It's extremely good for jaundice. Now every tribe in the country uses this plant. Now, without even going into the scientific investigation, I can say this must be a potential plant for jaundice. I can go straight away for product development. Is it clear now? I think teachers should all this. This is what is called cross-cultural ethnobotany. So I understand what is cross-cultural comparative account. How many people? Suppose you go and work out the ethnobotany of Tamil Nadu. If there is a person working on the ethnobotany of Tamil Nadu, suppose you find a plant which is used by Tamil Nadu tribes for diabetes. I am just giving a hypothetical example. What you should do is, how many other 550 tribes are there in our country? How many tribes are also using unrelated, not just adjacent state, you don't go. Unrelated tribes. How many unrelated tribes are also using the same plant? You should see. That is cross-cultural, comparative ethnobotanical study which has not been done in our country. That is one big problem. All are, everybody is working on ethnobotany of Cholas, ethnobotany of Kashmir, ethnobotany of, say, some small tribes only, ethnobotany, and that kind of study, those days have gone now. What we need is comparative account of ethnobotanical study, so that we go. So this slide is very important. Use of particular species for the same ailment by different unrelated ethnic communities indicates the efficacy and potential of these plants for drug development. I hope you all teachers agree. So this is very important because their unrelated tribes are also using this. So therefore, it is important. So in a way, cross-cultural ethnobotany. Now, if I go cross-cultural ethnobotany and then prioritize the species, I want to say diabetes or jaundice. I want to prioritize the species. What I do is I take all the literature, and from the literature I see how many, is there any common species which is used by all the tribes, and if they are all being used by many tribes, I shortlist that species. And that shortlisting of species is in a way bioprospection at the species level. I hope you understand. Again, I am coming to this. Bioprospection cannot be done only by molecular biologists and biotechnologists. Even field botanists can also go for bioprospection. So this is what is called bioprospection. So therefore, scanning of entire biodiversity for shortlisting of species for a particular ailment by comparative ethnobotanical study of different tribes within a nation, and if you want adjacent nations also you can say, and that is what is bioprospection. Therefore, such shortlisted species can be subjected to scientific scrutiny and further bioprospection, molecular and chemical level for product development. Now I will come to this summary. See, if I have to go for bioprospection, if a molecular biologist or biotechnologist comes and asks a botanist, you give me some 10 plants so that I want to work on anti-cancer plants, it becomes very difficult for you. How will you search? Rather, you go to ethnobotanical data, ethnobotanical literature, find out, are there any plants which are used by more than one tribe? Go on list. Say plant number 1 used by 20 tribes. Plant number 2 used by 100 tribes. Plant number 3 used by 200 tribes. So that indicates the degree of usage, how many tribes are using. Those 200 tribes use, I make it number 1. Prioritize that. That is how comparative ethnobotany. And that once it is then you need not go for all the 10 plants. Go instead of going and scientific evaluation of all the 10 plants, which is money, time, everything is very expensive. So therefore, you have to prioritize and only hit those prioritized species. That will be easier. Quickly you can go 10 plants, or 5 plants or 2 plants, and then go for. And for this, what is needed for us, if I have to do, 550 ethnic tribes are there in the country. I want to compare from Tamil Nadu or Karnataka. From Karnataka, I have collected a plant used for diabetes. I want to compare it. How many other 500 tribes, how many are using? If I have to compare them, I need a traditional knowledge database. Ethnic database is needed, so that in one way I can compare all that. Unfortunately, there is no database in our country which can be compared. So therefore, this is again a problem for us now. I hope teachers are understanding now. Comparing is easy, but point is there is no database on all the 550 ethnic tribes, so that sitting in one place I can compare. This is used by 200 tribes, this is used by 300 tribes. Therefore, although we know what to do, but the problem is that there is no the ethnic knowledge or traditional knowledge database is not there. Now CSR is attempting to do this now. Okay. Therefore, I gave this definition. Everywhere I always emphasize the definition. Biotechnologists and molecular biologists only cannot do bioprospection, but even I say this, conversion of traditional knowledge into commercialized product, making use of modern science is also bioprospecting. So therefore, we can contribute, a field botanist can contribute to bioprospection. Now, traditional knowledge and bioprospection, for example, there are some good examples. Phyllanthus amuras, I already showed this plant. It is hepatitis B virus. Rhizopus zeylanicus, this also plant I showed you for invigoration. Podophyllum exandrum, I have already showed. Already these have proved for liver disorders. Arnebia. So these are all some good examples where ethnic knowledge, the ethnobotany, has given direct leads for us so that we can go for product development. So, you see, the problem now is again, numerous Adivasi tribes are there. Ethnobotanical field work we have not been completed. Data and mode of use, dosage, again, all that we have not done, but we need to do that. And world over, 74% of the herbal drugs are derived from the follow-up of tradition. Understand this. 74% of the herbal drugs, not from India, world over. 74% of the herbal drugs, what we have in the market, they all have come up by the follow-up of the traditional leads only, ethnic knowledge only. Remember, not from modern scientific investigation, but from traditional knowledge. So ethnic knowledge is so important that we cannot ignore today. Ethnobotany scrutinize these rich ethnic cultural resources for further chemical, pharmacological, and chemical studies for development of potential herbal medicines. I think that is what we have to do now. Ethnobotany helps in drug discovery. This is how we have to go for that. Now, I told 70%, 50 pharmaceutical drugs from ethnobotanical leads. Already 50 pharmaceutical drugs have been evolved from ethnobotanical leads. Ethnobotanical means traditional knowledge only. In contrast, I think you can read this yourself. Modern approaches like phytochemical screening, massive biological screening, all these plants have proved unsatisfactory. They have proved unsatisfactory. So this gives a clue. Immediately we can go far. One of the good example is Nothapoditis fotida. It's an evergreen tree found in again Western Ghat again. It is an anti-cancer compound. Camptothecin, you find camptothecin in this. Now, earlier camptothecin was known from Camptotheca acuminata, a Chinese plant. I have written here. A Chinese plant which contains 0.00.5%, very negligible percent was found in Camptotheca acuminata, that was known in the world. And China was reluctant to supply camptothecin to our country for reasons better known to all of you. So, this was taken as a challenge by our scientists, and they have taken up the ethnobotanical survey. they have identified a plant called Nothopoditis foetida, which has got camptothecin almost 0.1%, which is much more than Camptotheca acuminata of China, so that we have broken down the monopoly of China. I think this comes from ethnic knowledge again. I think we should similar. This is that Camptotheca acuminata, China, right? I'm sorry, the India. And recently, Bangalore scientists have also identified a plant called Miquilia dentata. Remember this Miquilia dentata. In fact, highest concentration of camptothecin is reported from this plant. Once it was not known in our country, but today we have discovered this plant, Miquilia dentata. It is a climbing plant, whatever it is, produce camptothecin, highest quantity known so far in plants, highest quantity. So therefore, ethnic knowledge plays a major role in combating some of these major problems in our country. Now, there are many anti-cancer plants. Those of you are interested in know. Andrographis, catharanthus. These are, I have made a big list from ethnic knowledge only. This is all not only collected by me. From the ethnobotanical literature I have seen and made all this big list. The red ones where I have shown, they are being used by more than one tribe. That means they are important. More than one tribe, they are important. Semicarpus, catharanthus, andrographis. These are the ones which are Butea, Monosperma, Fesua. Aphanamixis polystachya. Aphanamixis polystachya is a miliaceae plant, a wonderful, anti-cancer plant, but neglected. People do not know. Many of the biotechnologists should come forward for go and work out on this plant so that we don't know, we may be able to develop a drug or a medicine at the end of the day. Mucuna pruriens, I told, this is the only effective plant known for L-DOPA, that is for Parkinson's disease. This is that papilionaceae plant, and the seeds contain that L-dophin. This is the one, Parkinson's disease. Now, in the northeastern region, I think when I gave a talk in northeast region, I made this slide. There are some plants which are all for, especially for northeastern region, which have got high, high value plants. I will say high value medicinal plants. These are high value medicinal, Coptis tita, Cordyceps, and Nardostachys jetamansi. I showed a photograph. Nardostachys, Panax assamicus. Panax I showed. It is a anti-fatigue and energy giving plant. Panax assamicus. And Rubia manjit, Aconitum metrophyllum, Aconitum ferox. These are the ones which have got high. For example, if you want to convert the biological wealth into economic wealth, yes, there are so many entrepreneurship development possible. For example, caterpillar fungus. This is Cordyceps is known. I think this you must be teaching in your class also. It is a good anti-cancer plant, and single mushroom costs around 200, but it is extremely difficult to get. You see, in the high altitude of Sikkim, where yaks graze, only in that area you get this. Suppose one person gets one small cordyceps plant, fungus, is a great fortune for him today, the day. So that is the one they consider. So why not we go for, if possible, cultivation techniques? I think there are no cultivation techniques, but we should try to go whether we can successfully go for cultivation techniques so that the boost the economy of the country is possible. Now, 1,000 rupees kg, Panax assamicus, you can see here, 1 kg of rhizome is sold for 700 rupees to 1,000 rupees in Manipur and Nagaland in northeastern region. Now, why not we multiply this, go for, truckload multiplication, make money. This is how we should try to improve the economy of the region, and the country becomes pariphylla. These are some of these things I have shown. Trichopus zeylanicus, Agasthyamale, I told, this is morning I showed this slide, this is very important, but both are similar properties. Antiphatic, highly energetic, energy-giving plant. Both are, as I told, without eating food, you can carry 50 kg weight. This is that plant. Same is the case. It is also called the Viagra of the Indian region. This is the one. In America, that is a different plant, but this is our Assam plant. And these two plants, why not we use these things, go for drug development, ultimately such a drug that it gives you so much of strength. Develop a capsule, at least develop such thing, and that will help you. And all this knowledge come from ethnic knowledge. I hope yes, I think I'm very clear now. So therefore, the future responsibilities of ethnobiologists, I am calling ethnobiologists or ethnobotany. Ethnobiologists means even animals also. Ethnobotanists is only the plants. traditionally used biological resources are to be used and inventories. You should inventories and develop tribe-wise database. We don't have tribe-wise database today. If you are doing this, say for Tamil Nadu, you develop a database Tamil Nadu. Tomorrow some other person will connect it and use it. So all the tribes, ultimately we should develop a tribe-wise database and conserve and revitalize the traditional cultures. Now, this is one problem. What has happened today? I told about the sacred groves. Sacred groves, when I told, ethnic knowledge is being eroded, which has persisted for several millions and thousands of years. But today, what has happened is, because they are educated today, the tribal boys and girls are educated, they are losing interest. They don't believe, hey, nothing will happen. So it is the tribal knowledge which has percolated over several centuries is abruptly cut off in this century itself. So what we should do? What we should do is we should revitalize the traditional cultures. Although it is not scientifically correct. Yes, yes, tiger will come. If they say, yes, I know, I have also seen tiger. Tiger will come and kill you if you cut a forest. So revitalize their belief. That revitalizing the belief of the traditional people is must, because this is a very crucial generation. After the next generation, there will be nothing left, because abruptly, which has come gradually for several generations, abrupt cut off from next generation. So therefore, we should not allow this to happen. So there we have to do and safeguard the sustainability of the traditional biological resources and traditional knowledge against misuse or overuse by modern societies. The traditional use we should try to, and we should act as custodians of the traditional knowledge. You cannot simply go and take, this is used, I will develop a product, I will make money, and I will become a millionaire. No, that should not be the attitude. You should give the tribal people what you have taken from them. If you get benefit, some amount of royalty should be given to the tribal. That is what I am telling is, you decide to distribute the benefits, the royalty, whatever you get, benefit you get, you should also give it to. And you cannot give it to any one man. The tribal, that resource person will tell you some information. I have collected this information from him, so therefore I will distribute the royalty to him. No, it is not his information. It has come from generations through oral folklore, over several generation time tested information. So therefore the entire community is responsible. So any royalty you distribute, you should go to the entire community. So you develop something for them, road development, building development, or something, whatever you want to do. That is how you should try to compensate the knowledge you obtain from the traditional people. And then another problem is, all the traditional people are dwindling today, because there is no, and it is not going to give them even their food. Now earlier, at least somehow they were managing their livelihood and all that. But today, what has happened is, everywhere you go, say for example, I'll give a good example, the modern science, the high yielding variety, whatever it is, the brinjal, what kind of variety brinjal you get in Bangalore, you go to Nagaland or Mizoram, the same variety you get there. So it has revolutionized. So therefore, even now, earlier, the tribal people are, this is headache, you will go to a tribal man, he will give some juice, or then take some plant and then rub it on his head and all that. Now everybody is Saridan, Aspro, everywhere it is available today. So these people have lost interest in their ethnic knowledge. Gradually it is going away. So therefore, what we need is, you should identify knowledgeable resource person in each region, provide some subsidy for them. You give them money. You continue what you are doing is a wonderful job you are doing. But can we do that? Can government can give money? Why should I give money? These are all the problem. But I can tell what needs to be done, but I cannot do. I hope you understand. The teachers solve this problem. We should give them subsidy, request them that you please pursue your noble profession, so that the information what you have accumulated for so many years will go. And also record all that information today, whatever before that man. See, if a tribal man dies, a library of information goes away. You understand, is not simple a man dying and there is difference, and a tribal man with a resource knowledge is there is different. If a tribal resource person dies, a library of information completely destroys, completely goes. Therefore, it is high time not only knowledgeable resource persons we should record all that what he knows, give him money. Without that, nobody, why should he give? You should give him, help them. But unfortunately, Government of India should understand this problem, come forward to solve this issue. And of course, regional training program for generating manpower in taxonomy and ethnobotany, I think is needed, and generating manpower, regional train programs are needed, just like what you are having. But my friend Seychelles told that I have come for promotion. No, that should not be your attitude. I think you should try to learn something and go and teach it to your students. I think this is the conclusion. I will not go into that. I will. Okay. Now, if there are any questions, I think please tell me what is this plant. This is again ethnic knowledge.
Sir,
Understand this?
vetiver.
Yes.
Vetiver, sir.
It is not vetiver. It is not vetiver. Understand, this I purchased from Kunming in China by paying $5. $5 because I am attracted to this. What is this? This is nothing but the bamboo shoot down below the root system. They have cut that bamboo and made this. Understand? This is the ethnic knowledge. And that fellow is generating money. From how? Not scientist. He is not a scientist. PhD has not done. But he is making money. So handicrafts, all this is ethnic knowledge from this. So therefore, we should try to encourage the ethnic knowledge. I brought this thinking that I will pass it on to some tribal people, so that after seeing this, they will have their own, I think some more, they will train those people and all that, but nothing has been done. But unfortunately, we are losing this. If that fellow dies,